So a number of people sent me this video over the weekend, and yesterday or today, no, it was yesterday and today. So a number of people sent me 2 videos from God. I just pray that whatever is happening in the Southeast that's making people be like this, just heal them, help them, save them, fill them with your peace. You know, Bible talks about, in Philippians chapter 4, Bible talks about peace that surpasses all understanding. We all need it, but it looks like Southeast needs it more. And you understand what I'm saying after I play these 2 clips. Before I play the clips, let me read something that we got to know about earlier today, about 3 hours ago. That behind the scenes, the new movie by Funke Akindele, right, has made 1 billion, has actually crossed the 1 billion mark, by the way. 1,109,463,846 naira and counting. And so this is Nollywood's highest grossing producer of all time, Funke Akindele. The movie is the highest grossing release of 2025, the fastest film in West Africa to cross 1 billion naira just 19 days. Highest single day gross of all time, 129.5 million naira on Boxing Day. The first filmmaker to have 3 consecutive 1 billion naira film in a calendar year. In 1 year, she's able to achieve that. And the only director to gross over 1 billion naira at the box office 3 times. Now, if I wanted to achieve the kind of thing that Funke Akindele has achieved, wisdom demands that I'll ask questions, right? I'm going to ask, how do you do it? Let me learn from you. What are the things you do? What are the steps you take? Then I'll find a way to, you know, maybe make it mine, own it, and then essentially reappropriate it if I have to. But I'll learn from who is doing it better. But no, I think in some parts of the country, that's not part of the package. What part of the package is celebrating what I'm not going to say, but I want you to make up your mind whatever you think this is. This is a young person, has been doing this for a while, but I think it's getting to some people's attention, so they sent 2 of our videos to me over the weekend. And this was, of course, before Funke Akindele began to trend. And this person did an entire video, could not mention Yoruba people as an ethnic group, could not mention the name, kept calling them, or kept calling us Ndi Ofe Mmanụ. The siblings will come here and tell you, but you're too educated to do that, like somebody just did right now. I think this one is too uneducated to be smart. Anyway, take a listen to the rant, and then we'll respond accordingly. Take a listen, please.
Ụmụ Igbo ekele m unu ma ife na-enwe m iwe ebe ndị Igbo nọ bụ na ndị Igbo lack self-awareness. Do you know that there's an agenda to erase Igbo language? Yes, there is. Do you know why Netflix left Nigeria? Netflix left Nigeria because they got tired of pushing a propaganda. Ịmana ndị Ofe Mmanụ ndị nwenyitere isi n'obodo ha. Ha gwara ndị Netflix na no bụ sọsọ movie ndị Ofe Mmanụ ka ha ya na-egosi na Netflix. Nya mere oge ahụ so movie ndị Ofe Mmanụ ka a na-egosi oge ọbụla na Netflix. Oge ọbụla na Netflix so movie ndị Ofe Mmanụ ka a na-egosi. And ndị Ofe Mmanụ, they are winning because kita ikpe onye Igbo aka n'ọnụ ọ ya sị gị ọmọ ebe ka asụ emụta ọmọ. Ndị Igbo ne kita na-ekwu nna kita onye Igbo ikpe ha kwa n'aka n'ọnụ ọ sị gị ọmọ. Because they are trying to erase our own language. Ndị Ofe Mmanụ chọrọ ka ọ bụrụ sọsọ their own language ga do universal. Nya mere ọtụtụ ndị Ofe Mmanụ na-asị na if you sing in Igbo language you cannot blow, that if you want to blow in Nigeria no bụ sọsọ n'Ofe Mmanụ ka ya na-asụ. And ụfọdụ ndị Igbo be anyị na-ekwekwo ifu n'ime ha ife ite Buhari kpanyasị o oke ma onye nka nọ n'ọkwa kịta onye kpọrọ ya si gwogwo onye Ofe Mmanụ a ha gwara Netflix ọ bụ sọsọ movie ndị obodo ha, movie ndị Ofe Mmanụ ka ha na-egosi na Netflix. Icheta oge ahụ ọ bụ sọsọ movie ndị Ofe Mmanụ ka a na-egosi na Netflix throughout. Ndị Igbo try and be self-aware. Speak your own language, support Igbo artists, support Igbo movies, support Igbo actress, Igbo actors. They are trying to erase our own language.
There are 2 videos, but let me first say something. I did Igbo language in secondary school. I've mentioned it here a number of times. I even had an A in junior WAEC. This was a long time ago. And there was something my teacher used to tell me then, that there are certain words that were going into extinction in the Igbo language. One of those words she taught me, and every time I met an Igbo person, when in my travels, I would always use that. Whenever we're having a conversation, I'll ask them, what's the Igbo word for motorcycle? And for the most part, they would say Okada or something. And then I would mention that what my teacher taught me in the 90s, and then the person was like, how come you know this thing? So it was like a way. So she was like, words for clock, for watch. But those words at the time, I'm talking, this is 2025, I'm talking more than 30 years ago. The clock, watch, things like that, she taught us then that those words, because people were using English language instead of Igbo language. So some words, they could mix a lot. That's what she taught us. But, she taught me well enough to be able to have an A1. Now, why did I say that? It's true that many languages are, should I say, running a risk to go into extinction? But it's because of usage, not because people have a plan for your language. You don't count. Like, if people will sit down and say, okay, what I want to do is I want to erase your language. Do you think you really matter like that? Language goes into extinction most likely because of disuse. Like, you're not using the language, therefore, or you're not using certain words, you are mixing it. In other words, what the lady taught me, growing up, and I learned, that's why when I was growing up, in recent years, like last 5-10 years, when people started talking about extinction of Yoruba language, I was like, maybe they don't know what they're talking about, because she taught us that early. The idea basically is this: if you substitute words in your language over time, those words will go into disuse, which means that now you will lose those words, and you might as well lose your language eventually. Which is what we talk about. Kí ọmọ sọ Yorùbá pọ́nbélé, Yorùbá tí ò ní ṣe àmúlùmálà, kí wọ́n sọ Yorùbá láì fi Gẹ̀ẹ́sì kún. Ó máa ràn lọ́wọ́ láti lè gbọ́ èdè dáadáa. Ó dẹ̀ tún máa ràn lọ́wọ́ láti lè sọ Òyìnbó. You'll be able to speak English properly, right? When you speak your language very well. Now, when you teach people how to speak your language, or you speak your language that way, what you're doing is that you're reclaiming the language, right? You're taking responsibility. But that will be difficult for certain people. In other words, you cannot tell your people how to do something without saying there's an enemy trying to do something to you. In other words, you have to create an enemy to be able to make anything out of your life. And it's not just about this language thing, it's a mindset. In politics, another ethnicity must be going after you. In business, somebody must be doing something against you. When it comes to property, it's because they hate you, and because of that you will now do something. In other words, you cannot creatively come up with a solution without looking for an enemy. Who on earth sits down to say what's going to happen to Igbo language, to destroy Igbo language? Number one, you must be very daft to think of destroying another person's language. Number two, your language must mean something. The language is not international. Igbo language is, like I said, I can speak a little of it. I think it's a good language, but it doesn't go beyond the borders of Nigeria. It's not like that Igbos outside Nigeria who are not from Nigeria who speak the language. No. There's a mistake we make in this country, in these conversations, and Yoruba people must be very, very aware of this. She's talking about people being self-aware. Yoruba people need to learn it more, and I'll tell you why. There's an assumption that ethnic groups in Nigeria are the same, and that somehow if you're doing word and opposite, boy, girl, Yoruba, Igbo, is a lie. Lojoti, I can sorrow. My best friend at the particular, she's my best friend. My best friend, we met at a particular time when I was 7. That was when I even met a nigga when NCCF. I was in Christian Corpus Fellowship. My friend was my best man, by the way. Easy Gala. After service, I went to their house only to be hearing Ebi Pami. I was like, what are you saying? This is Yoruba now. Ebi Pami. That's Ebi Pami. Olane. If you know Ale, Shodudu, being continue to do all things Jorawan, Shodudu, Olane, they have a lot of those things like that. Ekpo. Ekpo is ekpo, the same ekpo that we say ekpo, ebi pami, is the same thing. Mewa, ewa, 10 is say ewa. If, for crying out loud, a language that is so close to mine like that, I don't tell them that they are connected to me, although they are, but it's a separate ethnic group right now. I don't know why one is trying to always look for a way to say, okay, if there's something, then you have to connect to Yoruba. Yoruba and Igbos are not connected. The only connection we have is Nigeria. And you may be shocked that, and this is true, in terms of relationship, we have relationship with others far longer than we have with folks from the southeast. And there's no problem with, there's no reason. It's like saying, do you see an EBBO person telling you that I serve in Akwa Ibom, I love those people, but they don't go around telling you that we are related. We are not. And it is not a problem. You don't have to be related with somebody for you to be good towards them. I don't understand this whole nonsense about, is that you are saying we are related by a force, we are trying to oppress you. You must make either an enemy or forced relationship, which is a product of inferiority complex at an ethnic level. I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility and humility. It's at an ethnic, it's not about a person. And the people that did this, many of them are dead. Many of them are dead, and that's the sad part. And the younger people, this girl is in her 20s. These children are going to keep growing up and saying this and passing on to their children. They don't even know why they are thinking like this. And it was engineered. That thing of competition, comparison, if I'm doing this, is because I'm doing this. The first generation of people that started it, they are all gone. Azikiwe, Ojuku, Chinachebe, they are gone. And in the beginning, see, that thing helps you because you see somebody doing well, you want to try and do, want to try and reach him or even do better than them to compete and do well, which makes sense. Until you think that everything with that group has to be based on competition. You don't see any sense in compliments. You don't see any sense in complimenting the other group or the other group complimenting you. You don't understand the fact that there's anything that you cannot do. Listen, there are some things you cannot do. And when I say you cannot because of your trajectory, your evolutionary trajectory, your cultural realities will not allow you to do certain things. So this is me, that's them. I don't say I'm Hausa. The reason Yoruba film is not, for a while, Yoruba movie industry was crawling. It was like it was in hibernation. People were making money, but it wasn't so much. It was okay. I didn't hear any Yoruba person come out and say the reason the Yoruba film industry is going through stuff was because there was a coalition, or there was a meeting amongst the Igbos to sideline them. Meanwhile, things like that actually happened. There are actors who said they had to change their names, they had to be in Igbo films. But guess what? It's because they are the ones who, they own the money, they are running the game. If you want to be part of it, you join them. If you don't want to join them, you get out of it. You don't go around crying and say, see what the people have done to me. Why would you say that? You re-strategize. You ask yourself, what did you used to do before that you're not doing anymore? You talk to yourself. And so what have you noticed in the last few years? Let me tell you what has happened in the last few years. It's not about Yoruba people. It's about one word. That word has been missing in the Nigerian film industry since the early 90s. And we didn't have that word for about 20 years. No, almost 30 years. Right? But it was definitely over 20 years. The old thing is just one word. And that one word is actually the bane of the Igbo movie industry. The word is structure. It is structure. Certain people, I won't mention any ethnic group, certain people cannot function when there's order. It's structure. There are some things you see, it's cinema, it's Netflix. You can't bully your way, you can't pirate your way into that place. You have to follow order. You have to follow order. If you are not used to orderliness, everything looks as if people are against you. No, it's because you are not used to structure. Why is it easy for Yoruba people to pivot into what's happening right now? Because this was how we started. We started with cinemas in the 70s. You know, I've been watching a lot of documentary on this thing where Baba Ogunde, he hated VHS and he didn't like the idea of having film marketers, and he used to warn the actors, the ANTP back then, that these guys are going to take this thing from you. And it happened. They took it over. The people were doing the work. Once you share anyone, they would do the work and then they were getting peanuts. The marketers, I mean, some marketers are good, but for the most part, a lot of the producers were not making as much money. And then Igbawayi, that kind of structure that we're used to. Interestingly, people are already getting used to the dysfunctionality. Do you know there was a time, someone wrote something about music here. Let me tell you something. There was a time that Lagbaja CD that sold. The money that got to him was peanuts compared to the amount of CDs that of his music that sold. What changed that? Streaming. Were we not here when Kunle Afolayan had to take the pirates up after figuring? You need to learn how to function in a proper space. Just because you thrive in chaos does not mean chaos is normal. You take responsibility. It's not about pirating and scattering the whole thing and, you know, just putting money. Money is the least. I mean, money is important, but it's the least requirement to make industries work. You are not used to the structure. You learn it. Nobody is trying to say, "Oh, did you people have meetings about Kannywood as well, about Hausa, but they don't want to have Hausa films in the cinema." It doesn't make sense. Funke Akindele is, I mean, this is our third movie this year, over $1 billion. Do you see other filmmakers saying, Funke has gone to meet these people, they are now pushing us out of the film industry? She has cracked the code. So what do? You learn. And what do you see Yoruba film actors doing now, or film producers? They are dancing. I mean, for the life of me, I don't know how that correlates, but that's what works. Maybe if I don't like dancing, by the way, so if I want to do something like that, maybe I'm going to have to think of something else. Look at the adverts, the marketing. A budget for marketing is enough to make several movies, what do you call these movies? Low budget movies. The marketing, the shoots, the fact that, look at how even the package they sent to fellow actors. I saw the one with Feti Abalogo and Kamo. They had to open. I think they probably bought that thing from China, and then a video was there. She welcomed everybody. Hey, I'm from Akindele. I'm inviting you to be part of. We didn't used to do that. I go méjìlá mẹ́ta mẹ́fà. I go méjìlá mẹ́ta àti mẹ́fà rọ̀lẹ́. 100 naira lówó wọlé. Àti lọ nìyẹn. Who has time to be sending pack all over the place? But she has changed the game. So what do? You step in there. You compete. You say you like competition. That's how to compete. Not to be crying around like a gbere. Say they have a meeting that they must not allow Ofe Mmanụ. By the way, you know why people say Ofe Mmanụ? Let me even tell you about something. I think I should talk about this thing today. I've never said it in public, but I think it's important to mention it in passing. That thing's supposed to be an insult. Sincerely, you know what it really is? It's a show of scarcity. And Igbos call Yoruba people Ofe Mmanụ. Not once did she mention Yoruba here. She said Ofe Mmanụ, and even the elders call us Ofe Mmanụ. The thing is an insult. For me, it's not an insult. You are telling me I have abundance. Oily soup. It's because I have oil. You don't. You barely have enough to eat. You see me putting oil in the food. To you, it's waste. To me, it's the fact that it exists. You don't have it. When they say Ofe Mmanụ, for me, I just like, how is that an insult? You don't. That means you don't. I mean, how many oil palm? Let me not get into this. We had a conversation the other day. Before the war, 64% of agricultural produce, in terms of revenue, came from the minority areas. 64%. Only 36% of revenue, agricultural revenue in the eastern region came from Iboland. Only 64% came from outside the place, even though the people did not account for up to 50% of the population of the eastern region. Read Crisis and Conflict in Nigeria by A.H.M. Green. 64% was a speech by Anthony Nauro. You don't have enough of it, you don't have a lot of it, so you have to manage, which is okay. Listen, if you don't have a lot of something and you manage and you use it, it's fine. It means that you are wise to know your limits, so you use what you is that it did not begin because of the war. That it was always there because there was lack of proteinous food. It's not a dig. There's no fish, there's no meat, there's no cow, it doesn't exist, and the land cannot produce the kind of thing you want. So what did they do? They imported. How did they import? From money from the agricultural produce, right, or from the revenue that they were getting in the eastern region, not as Igbo people in the eastern region. And then the second one was from remittances from Igbo people living outside Iboland. That was how they got money to import the things they were eating. Is there a problem? Of course not. The only issue now is that by the time Ojukwu, instead of using number 6, thought that everybody should return home, that means that he had cut off revenue from remittances. But guess what? It's not that thing that is the issue. It's the fact that Yoruba people hate you. That's why you couldn't eat during the war. What do you see here? You cannot take responsibility for anything. Therefore, you don't change. Therefore, you continue to repeat the mistake generation to generation. When you say Ofe Mmanụ, the thing is that you don't have a lot of oil palm or palm trees. When you harvest, this is very important, by the way. I'll say it in such a way. I don't want to make it, I'm not insulting anybody, so I'll try as much as possible, Here's the truth. Yoruba people had several options when we're discussing cash crops back in the day. Our main cash crop, of course, was cocoa. The other one was palm oil. Interestingly, and I think I should even mention this, one of two major products that got the British looking into Abeokuta Egba area, two major products, was palm oil and cotton. And the reason for that was because of the American Civil War. And they thought they would get enough cotton from Egba and from Abeokuta. So we always exported palm oil. By the way, back in the day, palm oil was the fuel used in industries in Europe. Like the palm oil was the fuel they used in the engines. They had not, it was, of course, later on, of course, they came up with other things like that. But originally, many machines used palm oil. So we were selling palm oil. But we had enough to sell and to eat. And we also had cocoa, which is why when the cocoa ban happened, I think it was in the 1940s, it must be. 1 second. I didn't know we were going to get here. I'm going to read something to you. What Azikiwe said when they banned cocoa in Yoruba land. Was it cocoa or palm oil? I will tell you something. You guys, whenever you insult Yoruba people, you must be very daft to think that Ofe Mmanụ is an insult. I mean, it's an insult, but you are daft to think that you are insulting us and you make people feel bad. But you see, I like when people insult people like this, because then you can remind them their family history. Let me look for that book. If I find it here, good. If I don't find it, I'll find it somewhere else. You know what? There's another version. There's another copy here. Remember? I know where that thing is. Perfect. Remember? I want to read to you what Zik did when it came to this whole palm oil thing. If you're Yoruba person, someone calls you Ofe Mmanụ, just tell the person that it's because God provided it for you. You have to measure palm oil. I'm going to tell you something, what I'm looking for, the thing I'm looking for. You have to measure it, and I'll tell you why. Palm oil for us, industry, right? Because we've been doing iron smelting, iron works. So as a blacksmith, you use palm oil. To worship some deities, you use palm oil. To eat, of course, you use palm oil. Now that you have to export, you can export palm oil, but guess what? You can also export cocoa, which means that you don't have to depend on the export of palm oil exclusively. Not the same for the Southeast. I'm going to read from Papa's autobiography. Azikiwe said when they banned software selling in the Western region, Azikiwe said at least we had other options that nobody should bother about it. He did not once did he use West African pilot to fight for Yoruba people. So shouting Ofe Mmanụ is because you are poor. You don't have what I have. I can wait. I found the book, Sha. Can you imagine? I can waste palm oil if I want. I can waste if I like. If you wear whatever I want to do, palm oil, I can do it. But you wouldn't understand that because you don't have enough of it where you come from. So you call everybody Ofe Mmanụ. You think you're saying something. When you are calling your Mary now, you'll be shouting. Meanwhile, I don't even, and that one is even better because you are the one asking somebody for water. Yeah, Mary. But I don't like using anything like a slur on anybody. But I'll read some to you. It says here, when the agitation against the cocoa pool was raging, though the pilot carried 1 or 2 articles and reports on the subject, Dr. Azikiwe himself showed no interest whatsoever. Also, when the ban on palm kernels was imposed, the pilots supported it. This is what the pilot said. That's Azikiwe's newspaper. He said, the measure by the government is fair. Instead of reducing the whole country into poverty, only the western provinces will be affected and they can switch over to other avenues to make body and soul live. As a result of his indifference to these two economic crises, which threatened the livelihood of the people of the Western region as well as the economy of the country as a whole, some of us began to wonder what Dr. Azikiwe's economic determinism really meant in practice. In other circumstances, Dr. Azikiwe would have dipped his pen in gall as was his wont, and on the pages of the pilot under his own name or in the editorial column would have denounced the cocoa pool as an imperialist device or stratagem whose aim, object or purpose was to oppress, repress, depress and distress Nigerian cocoa producers and dealers economically. In the same manner, he would have vehemently declaimed the ban on palm kernels in the western provinces as a gross betrayal of trust, an indelible stain, blemish and stigma on British imperialism, a vain attempt, a complete misfire and a palpable bone in the realm of divide at empire. The words in quotation marks were not exactly Dr. Azikiwe, but they were typical of his early style. Here's the point. When the British put up a ban on the cocoa pool, when they put a ban on cocoa pool and on palm kernel, Zig's using it as a jab, but it's also a plus. It's a plus because any contact deba. So if, for instance, we wanted to export stuff, we could export cocoa, we could export palm oil. Some other parts also could export cotton, but primarily it was cocoa and palm oil. Now, we can decide that, cocoa will be exported and we're going to have more palm oil at home. By the way, cocoa farmers made a lot of money this year, last year, this year, maybe tomorrow or other day. I'm going to play you the news. One man made over 30 million naira, cocoa farmer, Kinshe City, 30 million naira was what he said he made. Bought a new car. It's going to buy on that one before the end of this year, according to him. Maybe I'm going to play that on Wednesday. But here's my point. Cocoa was a major source. For the eastern region, palm oil was a major source in terms of agricultural produce. Now, the eastern region had a little of it, not as much as people in Ogoja or in Akwa Ibom State, present-day Akwa Ibom State. They were the ones that actually had fertile ground or fertile land or fertile soil where they planted stuff. So people in Iboland, number one, did not have a lot of cash crops. Number two, the only one that was available was also the one that they had to eat. So they had to choose. Do we sell or eat? If we sell, we only make 34% of everything coming into the eastern region. Even though you think that they are making 175% over 100, the way they 175 or 1 billion over 100, the way they talk, you think they own everything. The truth of the matter is that they made less than every other region, every other group in that region. But here's the point: if we can only raise 36%, this thing, if we said we make 36%, if we eat it, we make less than that. Therefore, we rather sell, which means what is left is not as much. That's why you're not going to find water soup in Yoruba land. Omiobe. If you hear Omiobe le Yoruba, it's because we have ekpo. The girl in the video kept saying Ndi Ofe Mmanụ, Ndi Ofe Mmanụ. Here's the point I was trying to make, in case you didn't hear everything I was saying. The Ndi Ofe Mmanụ is not really an insult like Igbos think it is. It's actually an admission of scarcity in their home. And the reason is because when they get palm oil, they have to sell. When we get palm oil, we don't have to sell. We could decide not to sell because we had alternatives. And the reason is not, think about it, before, oil and everything, agriculture was the mainstay of every region, right? Let me say, please, agriculture was the mainstay of every region. So what that meant basically was that it was what you planted that you had to sell. And what I was saying, I don't know if you caught that one with the mic, was that I've been saying that thing again and again. I think it's better for me to read it so it doesn't look like I'm just making things up. Give me a second. I'm going to read from Crisis and Conflict in Nigeria by A.H.M. Green, and I'll be reading a speech by Chief Anthony Nauro. I like this particular speech, by the way. It's loaded because it helps you understand Nigerian history like no other. I'm going to find it. I found it. What are the true facts? This is from Crisis and Conflict in Nigeria, Volume 2, and this speech is by Anthony Nauro, was put out there on 12th August 1968. What are the true facts? In the former eastern region of Nigeria, the Igbos numbered about 7 million, and the Efiks, Ibibios, Ekois, and Ijos about 5 million or 5.4 million. Half of the land area of the region belonged to these 5 million so-called minorities. The minority areas produced about 16 million out of 25 million of annual agricultural exports from the east before the outbreak of hostilities. 16 million out of 25 million is 64%. 16 over 25 times 100, 25 in 100 is 4 times 16 is 64%. Okay, here's the point. This agricultural produce that was going out of the eastern region mostly came out of Ogoja province, and that's why during the war, why do you think people really died during the war? It was because there was no food within East Central State. A person wants to go to war, did not even think of, do you know what Ojukwu was busy doing? It was stealing granite. Ojukwu literally stole granite. Not that I'm even mentioning, let me read something about granite. That granite thing, oh man, can feel be how can you steal granite? The guy was saying granite because, you should be thinking of how to get food for the people, but it wasn't 9 million, it was 7 million Igbos, not 9, 7. On 22nd June 1967, Ojukwu tried his hands at piracy. A vessel, Richard Lander, owned by the British firm of United Africa Company of Nigeria, UAC, was seized at Onitsha by Ojukwu's gunmen. The vessel had 20 persons on board and carried 2 barges of Northern Nigeria Marketing Board groundnuts of about 400 tons. Ojukwu neither returned the vessel nor the groundnuts, despite protests by the UAC to the federal military government. Ojukwu stole groundnut in 1967, 400 tons. We have not received it till today. The point is, okay, 9 out of 25 million income, yes. So the point is that when it came to food, there was no food security in the eastern. It's been like that for a long time. Why? Dense population, land hunger, lack of arable land, and then lack of fertile land. I read it from another book before. You can read Professor Nzemiro, and also this book by Igbokwe, Igbo 25 years after the war. So what that means basically is that whenever you grow, so if you are not eating a lot, you are able to get 36% of the income, 9 million out of 25 million. So you cannot afford to eat oil, because if you eat it, you have to choose: do I eat or make some money? And so you say, okay, let's just make some money. For Yoruba people, they could decide to sell cocoa or sell cotton and decide to eat the palm oil, or sell some abroad and still have Ofe Mmanụ. So Ofe Mmanụ is beautiful, and the point is that I can afford it. You can't. So all this thing of Yoruba people, you're always putting oil, is because we have it. You don't. So it's more about your lack. It's not because you have a taste for non-oily substance. When we eat oily stuff, there's only one thing that makes us. one thing primarily that makes Yoruba people eat food without oil, it's war. It's called ofun. There are two types of food that two groups of people eat. People that are, in fact, this particular group, that war happens and then causes people to become slaves. It's when you become slaves that you have to, and sincerely, let me put for you, but Oma Somoroni, one ni alepo nle anjo fun, aniyo anje the current leko ate alepo nle anjo fun, aniyo anje ate. If you see a person eating ate, is a families where if you talk about come jate because of so thank you very much on YouTube, Evans. Thank you, sir. What is Shady ofun loju ekuru yen. Ekuru ni ofun loju, oni ofun. Ṣùgbọ́n on ma dín ate lọ́tọ̀ pẹ̀lú epo. Now imagine kí on ma jẹ ekuru láìsí yọ̀, láìsí ọbẹ̀, láìsí ata, láìsí epo. So we don't eat ofun or ate because for us in our culture, to eat those things means two things. Only two things can make you do that thing. Number one is that you're a slave. Number two is that you are living, maybe there is famine or war. Because way back, I have documents here of markets in the 8th and 9th century Ife, where Ijebu people will bring salt to sell, and palm trees were plentiful all over Yoruba land. So to eat means that there is lack. To eat without oil and salt means that there is lack. There's nothing. It's a shameful thing in Yoruba land. It's that there's famine, there's poverty, or let me put it this way: it's that there's poverty or there's slavery. Those are the only two reasons that will make you eat without oil. And may that never be your portion. Everybody listen to me. May that not be your portion in Jesus' name. Where you not be able to afford ekpo. How do you want to lubricate the iron? So I also remember that now. It's very important. See, combat budget. Let's say somebody is actually in very terrible situation. The phrase or the word, the saying Tomalo is that aleponle anjo fun aniyonle anjate. In other words, they have it but they don't have access to it, therefore they have to live without it. That's not our story. So Ofe Mmanụ with pride. I eat it because I have it. You cannot eat it because you don't. And I'm not saying the reason you're not eating is because of poverty or slavery, but I can assure you it's because of scarcity. Whether that scarcity is not a product of poverty or slavery, you can make up your mind. But in Yoruba land, you have to be either very poor. Even if you are poor, God save. So you have to be very poor, but that's the second portion. The first guinea is that you must be a slave. It is slaves that eat without oil in Yoruba land. That's a lot for that nonsense about Ofe Mmanụ. They don't want you to speak Igbo language, so they are destroying Netflix. Do you know why Netflix left Nigeria? Just in case you were not here when we played that nonsense video. It's nonsense, by the way, because let me not even be politically correct. The person that said this is actually not thinking. I'll play it and I'll play the second one, and then we'll bring people up again.
Unu ma ife na-enwe m iwe ebe ndị Igbo nọ bụ na ndị Igbo lack self-awareness. Do you know that there's an agenda to erase Igbo language? Yes, there is. Do you know why Netflix left Nigeria? Netflix left Nigeria because they got tired of pushing a propaganda. Imana ndị Ofe Mmanụ ndị nwenyitere isi n'obodo ha. Ha gwara ndị Netflix na no bụ sọsọ movie ndị Ofe Mmanụ ka ha ya na-egosi na Netflix. Nya mere oge ahụ so movie ndị Ofe Mmanụ ka a na-egosi oge ọbụla na Netflix. Oge ọbụla na Netflix so movie ndị Ofe Mmanụ ka a na-egosi. And ndị Ofe Mmanụ, they are winning because kita ikpe onye Igbo aka n'ọnụ ọ ya sị gị ọmọ ebe ka asụ emụta ọmọ. Ndị Igbo nekita neku nna
It says that Igbos used to say omo like Yoruba people, like omo, like they should be saying nna because when you're saying omo, is Yoruba people winning. You should be saying nna man or nna as if as soon as you start saying nna your industry will now blossom. Were you saying that thing when you was working? You don't understand. At the bottom of everything, at the root of everything, is not about even language. At the roots is structure. The structure just changed. What you are seeing for the first time since early 1990s. For the first time since early 1990s, it took about 30 years. But what has happened in the Nigerian film industry is that there is now structure. And people who cannot compete in that space are the ones who cry like bush babies.
To erase our own language. Ndị Ofe Mmanụ chọrọ ka ọ bụrụ sọsọ their own language ga do universal. Nyamere ọtụtụ ndị Ofe Mmanụ na-asị na if you sing in Igbo language you cannot blow, that if you want to blow in Nigeria no bụ sọsọ na Ofe Mmanụ ka ya na-asụ. And ụfọdụ ndị Igbo ba anyị na-ekwekwa.
When I was growing up, I grew up on two different types of music, foreign and local. The local would be Fuji, Juju, Aori. Particularly, I mean, a lot of people have been doing it, but then Keke and D1 decided to even push it a bit further. People have been, trying to copy Oyinbo. So you have people like Chris Okotie, you have his name starts with a Wilson, Daniel Wilson. A lot of people, back in the day, their names I don't. There's this lady that sang Edna Okori. That's her name, right? Edna Okori. There's Ben Okri. There's Esen Igbokwe. A lot of people were trying, right, to sing stuff, but mostly we'll listen to a lot of hip hop. And then we started having FM radios, right? In the early 90s, we started having FM radios. So before we used to have only AM. Yes, Edna Ogoli. Thank you. Danny Wilson. Yes. And and back in the day, Christian Esen Igbokwe became very popular because Omomi Shonrere Tia Darao. Omomi Gbotemi Tia Darao. She's Akwa Ibom. She sang Yoruba. Nobody says she must sing Yoruba. A number of them will use that because, listen, people use Yoruba because of commercial value. Do you want to sell? That's the point. Now, does that mean that if you use your language, you will not sell? Listen, there are people that I know, they sing only in Igala. They make money. Just not Davido kind of money, but they make their own. Because you have your own people that can understand it, and that is good because you get to preserve your language. But you cannot blackmail me into buying that album because I don't know what they're saying. And that's even Igala, that the language is close to Yoruba, let alone your own. What do you know they're talking about? Especially because you find a way to blackmail people and say, why must you use Yoruba to sing? The language cannot travel as far. It's a choice that these people made. It's a commercial choice. It's an artistic, a creative choice. It's not about Yoruba. Say if you don't speak English, if you don't want to speak it, don't speak it now. Like when we wanted to change the game, did you hear Nigerians say, oh, we have a lot of American songs on Nigerian radio? Because FM changed everything in Nigeria, by the way. FM brought us in contact with hip hop. We used to have AM when I was growing up. AM radio, OYO. I grew up in Ibadan. Then we had FM, OGBC, OGBC 2, that's Ogun State. Then BCOs had their own FM station. Then Lagos had, people started having FM stations. So they started playing all this music. And then what did they start doing? After the set of them, Ben Okri, because we already have the Juju and Fuji, we had, Ebenezer Obey and all, and Sonia Day and Barista, Colinton. There were a lot of them. Fantastic work. But younger people were trying to, do something similar. Yeah, Radio Lagos, thank you. Do something similar to what they were hearing abroad. So what did they do? They sat themselves down and began to sing their own songs. Shade. Music. I'm not telling you all the names of the artists. I'm just using examples. Then you had people start bringing up songs, you start having plantation boys, and I'm not even trying to stick to Yoruba song. or Yoruba names. It's just, the point is just that people started, what's the word? What's the word? What do we do in the laboratory? Experimenting with stuff, tribesmen, thank you. And then eventually it caught on. Over time, today in Nigeria, we listen more to our own songs than foreign songs. In Kenya, they want to do the same thing because now Nigerian music has taken over the airwaves. They are saying, how can they make it about them? I don't know if they can produce the content, but that's okay for them. The point is that we matched it as Nigerians. We matched the point where it's only when you're having to think like this, because this is how their parents also think, where you cannot say there's an opportunity here, let me see something. It has to be that they are trying to do something. Was it America trying to destroy Yoruba language when they introduced hip-hop to Yoruba land? This is your home. You want to do better, Abi? You reclaim it. It's not about why they now singing English, why they now singing Yoruba, and Ofe Mmanụ. They don't want to have to because they want to remove Igbo language. You're not even that important. Let's be telling ourselves the truth. Your presence or your absence doesn't affect me. I mean, your presence is blessed. I want you to be there and be there, be blessed. But if you leave, you will not be missed. What do you mean they are trying to remove you? What if you are there, God said, you are okay? You know why? Because it's like the sky. You are there, you are flying. You are not touching me. You are not affected. Your success is not a threat to my existence. I want you to succeed. I want you to thrive because it doesn't affect me. I want you to be blessed. Your blessing doesn't to you because you have a sense of scarcity. That's why I say, if I'm flying in the air and you're also in the air, your presence does not affect me. I don't know whether you're there or not. You are flying your own flight, and I'm flying my own. I'm taking a flight. So, they're doing because they want to remove you. It's because you think that we are you are thinking like a crab. It's not a crab. It's not a bucket. It's a sky. Spread your wings and fly. But no. This is why I tell people from the Southeast, you don't know what you are doing. These are young people. These are the way they talk. That means that you have this inside in the 1940s, by the way. Inside the 1940s. I have documents that go back to 1949. That's when this thing started. 1947. And that document was about the meeting I held in January. Perfected since the 1940s. It's not going to work again. But here's the point: whether it works or not, it's not a problem. Is that you have successfully made unborn generation victims without their consent. How can you talk about the music industry and the only thing I think about Yoruba people are trying to stop you from doing anything? Let me tell you what you do. If they don't allow you, you build your own table. Let's even assume that they're doing that to you. So what? When did Nigeria start getting Grammy? No, we're not getting Grammy. What did we have? We had Eddies. Animal Show. You created this. Not crying around. No, you are not giving us Grammy. Is it because you are racist? Are you not racist? We are Nigerians, so we are also putting our music. You are not giving us Grammy. You created this. Oh, there's no Oscar. You do MVCA. You do SMVC music. You do stuff. You do stuff for yourself. Now you be crying like a bush baby. Anyway, let's hear the rest of the rant and then we'll listen to the other one. That one's about music. I don't even know how. I'm trying, you know what I mean? Because listening to this thing is stressful. But let's finish it, please.
And for the Igbo buying if you need my ife, it's a Buhari Banyasi. Buhari Banyasi, okay, my onyenka no kwakita, onya porayasi gogo. Ofe Mmanụ ha gwara Netflix ọ bụ so movie ndị obodo ha, movie ndị Ofe Mmanụ ka ya na-egosi na Netflix. Icheta oge ahụ ọ bụ so movie ndị Ofe Mmanụ ka na-egosi na Netflix throughout. Ndị Igbo, try and be self-aware. Try and be self-aware. Speak your own language. Support Igbo artists, support Igbo movies, support Igbo actress, Igbo actors. They are trying to erase our own language.
I support Igbo people speaking their own language. I support them doing their own movies and speaking their sub. Ofe Mmanụ. That thing you see is a product of work, a lot of work. A few years ago, one of our own was gonna, try to get, what do they call this, Oscars, right? Then something happened among the committee. Then they said something in Nigerian film. I'm not even going to talk about it intentionally, but that thing pained me because I was really rooting for Kunle Afolayan. His movie would have done well. They chose one. I won't mention the person's movie because he's a creative. I don't want to make it. But there's no way on earth you're going to tell me it was not political. Is that clannish mindset even got into the committee? There was almost a scandal. I mean, I don't want to make anything out of this thing because we don't belong to those who, I mean, have we not done better than that now? And the Grammys that were not giving Yorùbá when Edis was available, Edis is still available, thank God. Hopefully it grows and becomes even bigger. What happens now? At the Edis, at the Grammys, you have Nigerian musicians getting stuff in Grammys, but not by crying, by working. If you are a parent and you're from the Southeast, I'm begging you in the name of God, save the next generation, save them. This thing is dangerous. You get to a point where you will cry. People look at you and they will walk away as though nothing came out of you. Why? Because they are tired of the blackmail. And I hope you raise a better a new generation of people who can say, you know what, I messed up, I can do this to make it better. I messed up there, I can do this. Oh, you're doing better than me if I do this and do that and do that, without thinking of destroying the structure just to win. There are people in this country who don't mind becoming king of the ashes, burn down the city, and he becomes the king. That will make them feel better, right, than living in a structured environment. May God bless them. I don't know if I should play this other video. This one is about what Yorùbá people, what are you guys doing in the music industry? You Ndi Ofe Mmanụ. Ofe Mmanụ. Why are you gatekeeping the music industry? The industry that the first recording, music recording by an Oluwa is the tune you hear on Channel TV today. Oluwa is the tune you hear on Channel TV today. Oluwa Kole Baje. That song was by Fela's grandfather. When did you know what recording sounded like? That you're comparing. Just do your own. You can't compare your music with you. Like, this Nigeria is Aja they rob people of their shine. 19, I think it was 21. That Fela's grandfather made. That was the very first recording by a Nigerian in the UK. Now, I don't want to tell you where you were that year, where the majority of your people were. I mean, let's thank God for all of us now. We're all doing well, but let's not be comparing ourselves because we're all in Nigeria. I mean, everybody should respect themselves. But let's listen to this. To be honest, this is retarded, but we'll listen. Take a listen, please, if you can.
Eric's music. I did not. I waited to hear Evado.
Why is this girl angry? This girl is too young to be this angry. Aha. Ogwe Shureo. Eka Agboyoku. Just angry. Ah.
I said Igbo artists are segregated in the music industry, and some people are coming for me saying, you have to pay before your music are played in TV station. That is not the case. That is not the case. Igbo artists are being segregated in the music industry.
Let's start by, let me even start from there. If you're talking about an industry, they're telling you how it runs, and you're shouting, doesn't matter, I just know what they're segregated. Is Odumodu, is it from Osun State? Is it from Oshogbo? Is it from Ikene? Is Flavor from Ilesha? Odumodu is from Illusion. I've been thinking about it. Thank you, Adeji. I think Odumodu is from Illusion, Remo. Has to be. And Flavor is probably from Papa Jao. It's crazy. They know how they do these things, but no, we must cry and say that we are the victims of everything. Let's continue.
In Nigerian music industry, if you are not kissing the ass of Ofe Mmanụ, you cannot blow. You must have to kiss the ass of Ofe Mmanụ. Ofe Mmanụ have gatekeeped the Nigerian industry. Yes. And they are making sure that artists from other regions will not excel in the music industry. They are making sure that it is only their own artists that will excel in the music industry. And when you complain about it, they'll say, Igbo artists don't promote their music now. Igbo artists don't sing good songs now. They know what they are doing. They are degrading artists from other regions while they are uplifting their own artists. They are not gatekeep with the music industry. I have spoken with so many artists from the southeast and they are complaining of the same thing. These people are gatekeeping the music industry, and you cannot gaslight me because I know what I'm talking about. They make sure that artists from other regions, they don't play their song anywhere, both on TV, both on radio, and even in the clubs. There is segregation in the Nigerian industry, not just in the music industry alone. You must have to kiss the ass of an Ofe Mmanụ before you even blow. If you're not kissing the ass and sucking up to them, you cannot blow. They want to be above while others will be under. And when you complain, they will say, Igbo artists don't sing good song. Igbo artists don't promote their song. That is a lie. You cannot gaslight me. You on your TV or radio station or go to the club, it is only Ofe Mmanụ's song that are playing. Other regions in Nigeria don't have artists. I was watching a music station and I waited and waited for them to play artists from the southeast. They did not. I waited to hear Jerick's music. I did not. I waited to hear Evado, Kola Boy, Aguero Banks, Fino, Flavor, Zorro, and the rest of them. I did not hear it. That is segregation, and I will talk about it. Stop segregating other regions. Stop it.
Only if Ojukwu knew that what he was doing would cause this thing, maybe he would have changed his mind because he just couldn't see the future. You must have foresight as a leader. I don't even blame the girl. I blame their leaders. You have to think of the future. Do you want to raise winners or whiners? Just whining. Because this is what do you say? I mean, this is a shame. But by the way, by the way, I don't want to say to this. Just remember that Ofe Mmanụ thing. Embrace it. Ofe Mmanụ means prosperity. You have oil. And in our culture, to not have, I'm saying this because of, she says it again. In our culture, to not eat with oil is a sign of poverty or slavery. That means you are nothing for you not to have oil in your food. Onje ofun. And we don't have salt. Onjate. We are not poor people and we're not slaves. Therefore, we can afford to be Ofe Mmanụ. What is she said about music? I'll just bring people up because you already. Someone is writing their flavor. Yes, I thought let them bring the likes of Adi Kabasa. Where is Don Jazzy? I think Don Jazzy is from Delta State. They grew up in Yorùbá. Music. Did you not know Oliver De Coque? I didn't know that this bigotry thing has eaten deep into. We knew Oliver De Coque now, but you're not going to have a lot of them, to be honest, for obvious reasons. Don't ask me for the obvious reasons, by the way, because if I say it, it will sound insulting. And some people are writing in the comment section. Yes, Rex Lawson. I think the mother was Igbo. I thought I was probably from maybe Joe or something. I don't know, but he also had Igbo heritage. I mean, people. If the music is good, people will listen to you. Okay. If your music is good, they will listen to you. Kalabari, yes, Kalabari. Kalabari is Ijo, right? But also the mother was Igbo. Nikombaga, I think he was from Cameroon. If your music is good, they'll listen to you. Did we understand Awilo? Did we not dance to Awilo? Many of us here, I don't know about you, but I'm not that old. Early 90s, did you not dance to Makosa? We didn't even know what they were saying. Go. Turn it to Sunday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Woo! May God forgive. May God forgive Julius Agu. We danced. It wasn't. If your song is good, if your music is good, people will listen. Music has its own energy. Do Oyinbos not sing Asake song, even if you don't understand what they're saying? Just work on yourself. I don't know how. And by the way, are there people that will gatekeep? That's how industries are. That's how industries are. And the funny thing is, you have people. What's not Pokoli? When Pokoli got in that space, did you hear anybody say, "Oh, he's Yoruba"? It's not Yoruba. The point is just that I think this thing should actually make you want to work and do better. And so you say you like competition, compete. But the point is, crying doesn't look good on people. Just being a victim, it's a shame. But let's move on to the next person. Thank you very much, my brother Yemi Plus. We'll go to Feel My Star Shine. Good evening.